Who is Mutula Kilonzo Junior?
Well, that's not an easy question, particularly now that you're asking me to describe myself. A simple, hard-working Kenyan lawyer, an advocate of the High Court of Kenya, Supreme Court for the last 19 years. That's me. Ambitious, hard-working, disciplined. Yeah, that's me.
You started right here at Kilonzo Advocates as an associate and then climbed up to the level that you are at right now. And most people believe that since you've been working with family and for family, then it's been quite of a straight path for you, and you didn't have to work as hard as those who are starting off working in let's say farms that are not family owned. So, and oftentimes I've heard that you said that in fact the contrary is true for you, and you actually had to work your way up.
Yes.
So please tell us more about that.
Yes, it's an impression, a very bad impression created that there was a silver spoon offered to me. To the contrary, I started working at Kilonzo and Company Advocates when I was, I think, 19, and I was employed as a messenger. I used to deliver letters to all the buildings in the city. There's no corner of the Nairobi city that I do not know, or alley. And I was then promoted to a clerk. My work was to file documents in court. That time the registries were not as organized as they are now. So now they are a little more organized. And then graduated into an intern, librarian, associate. But I started from the absolute bottom, the bottom. There are people who have come to this firm and have started at a higher position than I did. Yeah, so it's not true. My father would not have had it any other way. And therefore, he trained me using those parameters so that I'm able to learn at every step of the way how a law firm functions. Yes. So it has not been an easy climb. I've earned my way to the top because I've served in all those categories to get there. Particularly because the training was not to just come and find a nicely furnished house, if I may use that as an example. But the point was that you must be able to improve the practice that had already been set up. So the current location we are at, I have, together with my partner Kathy Kilonzo, organized this office, a movement from the city center to here, in order for the office then to be at the level that it is now. Yes.
Yes, thank you. So talking about the current setup of the office, I have noticed it has amicable architecture, I'd say, and the design and everything is inspired a bit and a lot by nature.
Yes.
So would you tell us a bit about that?
Part of it is my dad's passion for nature and natural things. Half of the things that you see in the office are all either collected from the farm in Ukamani or from the farm in Machakos that we used. But it's out of the building so much and having so many unnatural things. If you look at my lamps and my at my table, it's as natural as it can get. So it's part of appreciating nature. The ambience outside allows anybody who wants to come, even at any moment. I've had clients who come and they go outside and pray. Yeah, those who pray, like the Muslims and others, they've used my compound for many reasons. So you are supposed to feel at home. We want to create an environment where work is not supposed to stress you. We want to change the work environment. We have a cafe. We have offered a cafe to our staff. They can have meals, a cup of tea, 4 o'clock tea throughout the day available to them. Again, that homeliness. Even when our clients come, we just want to offer a different environment. You are in the office and yet you are not. Yes.
Senator, you have carved quite a distinct path, which most advocates would say is quite laudable, and that's the fact that you're both a politician and an advocate of the High Court of Kenya.
Yes.
And just tell us a bit about that journey.
The journey of my politics was not a journey that I created myself. It's a journey that came to me by accident. and it followed a very cantankerous legal process involving my sister Kathy. So it's not exactly by choice, but I found myself in that unenviable position of being a politician and a lawyer at the same time, and having to balance both those portfolios, so that I keep my profession, I keep my professional ethics and standards and ethos that I've learned, and at the same time offer the leadership that the people who have given me so many votes expect me to deliver for them. So it's quite a balance. Every day is a day that is challenging. That simply means that since I have 2 day jobs, that I wake up earlier, I work more, I report to both offices, and at the same time make sure that when I'm not in the Senate or in the office, I'm working with my people in Makueni. Not to mention that in all that matrix, I still have to do homework with my daughter. Yes.
Yes, speaking of family, you are definitely a family man. And one thing I've noticed from my interactions with various advocates, especially young advocates, is that they're so scared of starting their own families so early in their profession, because they believe that family kills your career. And this question is often just asked to women, but I think even men play a great role in family and being able to balance family and work. And I think the young advocates and even other advocates can learn a lot from how do you balance then between family and 2 day jobs.
I mean, I'm not sure where that statement comes from, because I believe that in order to be able to balance the pressure that comes with the role of an advocate, leave the politician, the valves that opens out that pressure is family. The beauty of having a child who sees you and is happy. People are so innocent that they are not demanding anything from you other than time. I didn't start that early. The opportunity, I would have started that early, but I was busy chasing my legal career. But I think it's not much more the fear of beginning a family. I think it's the expenses that come with running the family, because you're not going to run a family and then they sleep hungry and your profession. So a lot of people actually want to settle down and be able to offer the basic needs of a family. And we know advocates. Advocates just want to live like advocates would. They want to dress well, drive a nice car, live in a nice place, and obviously take their children to good schools. So that's part of it. A lot of it is financial, not exactly settling. If they had the money, the minute they were admitted into the bar, they would get married immediately. Yeah.
Very true. Thank you, Senator, for that. And then let me just delve a bit into practice. You mostly deal with civil litigation, right?
Yes, and criminal. And
criminal litigation.
Yes.
So then you understand the running around that goes around in Milimani.
Yes.
That's Milimani.
Oh, yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, and even having served as a clerk for Kilonzo and Company Advocates, you understand that. And so probably I think a lot of advocates would like to know, as a civil litigator and as a criminal litigator, what is the sole lesson that you'd like to tell someone who's practicing in this field in order for them to succeed in these particular 2 fields?
There's no shortcut in this business. And that is why it's not called perfect, it's called practice. Every day we practice. If you meet senior counsel John Haminwa, Feroz Nauji, they're still practicing. Even though they have been on the bar for more than 40 years, they're still practicing. It never becomes perfect. You learn new things every day. The impression that simply because I'm a senator or my colleagues are senators does not necessarily mean you get your way around the courts. You still have to prove your case, you still have to do your research, you still have to do your presentations well, and therefore anybody who thinks that then this side of me is supposed to make sure that you have an easy way in court should forget it. In fact, the higher you go in terms of profile, the more that is expected of you in terms of better presentation, better research, more hard work, and therefore the currency for practice for anybody is prepare, and prepare. You have to prepare your cases well, you have to prepare your pleadings well. And the secret, And I learned this from my senior guru, father, and mentor. You don't win your cases in court, you win them in the office. Means if your plaint is wrong, if your submissions are wrong, it doesn't matter how you look, what tie you are wearing on that day, it will not correct the pleadings, it will not correct the research, and it will not correct the mistakes. So the bulk of the work is done in offices, quietly where there's nobody. The 75% is won on your desk. So sit on your desk, get a hold of your books. And there's a challenge. And I was given that challenge, and I must challenge, particularly the young lawyers who are joining this practice. All of you are taught by the same teachers, same books, law books. You have the same material before you with your colleagues at any given time. So what will distinguish you from your colleagues? It's the amount of time you put in. It's the amount of research you read. It's how much you bother to get into your case. And most importantly is the presentation.
How do you then cope between being a politician and then being a lawyer?
It's not a question of coping. You must understand. You must understand. I personally have bothered to understand my role as a public servant and my role as an advocate, where I deal with client matters. The rules about advocate-client do not change when you become a politician. The rules about being a politician do not change simply because you have become a lawyer. But let me tell you, the most interesting thing about my work is that I have found my training as a lawyer an additional advantage in my work as a lawmaker. When I began my foray in politics, one very senior senator told me, you know, you have to change the way you think. I asked him why. He said, when you come here, you're not in the High Court. You are in the Senate. We are doing politics. We are not doing law. But increasingly, it is my law career and my training as a lawyer that has helped me with my legislation as opposed to thinking like a politician. What I don't know is whether he was asking me to be deceitful, a liar, or insult people, but I never use that, because the only skill I have learned over the years is to be a good advocate, do your research, present your facts, do not lie, speak clearly, and speak quickly. Yes.
Both careers, what's the greatest hurdle then that you've had to overcome, both as a politician and as an advocate?
The greatest hurdle I've had to overcome in both sides is the person I'm named after. Yeah.
Do you think that you live in the shadow of your father at one point?
I've always been. In fact, one judge who I shall not name, one day asked me in court, have you asked your father? And in the middle of submissions, in the middle of my submission, he asked me whether I'd asked my father about what I was saying. I have had instances when I started practice when even my clients have second-guessed my opinions. Again, in politics, I'm measured by the standards of my father. Every time they say, they refer to Mutula Kilonzo Senior. Mutula Kilonzo Senior did X.
So why don't you?
So that's the benchmark. And then they come to me. So it's not exactly a bad benchmark. I've always aspired to be as good as he was, both in the legal profession, successes in his career, in his politics, hard work. But for me, it has always been to do better than he did.
Do you believe that then at some point, politics corrupts the integrity of the law?
No, politics doesn't corrupt the integrity of the law. Politicians corrupt everything they come across. If they were given a chance, they would corrupt the air and pollute it. Yeah, if they were given an opportunity. Because they actually, politicians do wrong things knowingly, deliberately. Because we acquire, for some reason, some sense of omnipotence, in the impunity that I'm a politician and you can't do anything to me. I don't report to you. Not forgetting that the law, we should subject ourselves to the law. So the integrity of our politics has no reflection to the integrity of the law.
Finally, what next for Mutula Kilonzo?
That question is asked of me several times, many times, every day. And I say this, that I have left my journey, career path, to God. And I've struggled to tell the people who I represent, particularly the politics, that serve your term, do your duties, do not covet another seat while you are on another seat, because in the process then you don't deliver as expected. So what is my future? My future is ensuring that by August 2022 there's something that I can go and report. I want to go back to Makueni and first of all give a report. Now I have no report. There's no exam that has been marked. I want to go with a report and say, this is what you send me to do, this is what I have done. And it's on this basis that I ask you either to re-elect me in the same position or give me a better position if you deem fit or think that I'm capable or I'm up to the task. That's the way I think. I listen very carefully sometimes to an audio my father had done of his manifesto when he wanted to become senator. And that tells me that you can't just plan too much. He had so many things on his mind, so many things that he wanted to achieve. But a month after his election, he was no more. So this day, today, 10th of February, what have you done that is worth the time, the resources invested in you, both by the public and the taxpayer? That's my vision. So this is a beautiful profession. I would encourage a lot of people to become lawyers, because I still think that the country is largely underrepresented in the legal field. The law is a very complex subject to a lot of people who don't understand it. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I think we've learned a lot from you. Personally, I have learned a lot from you. And thank you so much for having us and for being available today to answer our questions.
Thank you for making time.
Yeah.
Thank you.